Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Alain. It's Saturday. I have my book cup because I enjoy books. I think that's part of enjoying life. And we got some books today to help you enjoy, help you succeed, and help you stay safe. The books would be Fight Back. I'm going to talk about that by Loren Christensen and Lisa Place. I'm going to talk a little bit about Rainfall by Barry Eisler and talk about How to Have a 48-Hour Day by Don Aslett. Those are the books on the reading list or the talking list this morning. Thank you for everybody that joins and comments and shares. I appreciate all of you. Appreciate those that watch the replay. Appreciate those that watch at the website, Enjoy Life Safely. Appreciate those that watch at Apple and Spotify and different places. I guess you're listening there, not watching, but same thing. I appreciate everybody that, makes this more of a community. And please remember, write me, comment, if you want to talk about a certain book or a certain topic or whatever it is, let me know. We'll work that into a future show. And I also want to remind you, go to enjoylifesafely.com and sign up. The emails are starting. So you want to make sure you get on that email list and get those Enjoy Life Safely newsletters, because we're going to have a lot of good tips and different things to help you stay safe, enjoy life, and be exceptional. Good morning, Jay and Vicky. Appreciate both of you showing up and saying hello. Hope you're having a spectacular Saturday. So let's talk about some books. First one on the list, Fight Back, A Woman's Guide to Self-Defense That Works by Loren Christensen and Lisa Place. Two people that know what they're talking about when it comes to self-defense. I've talked about Loren before. He's written, 40, 50, 60 books. I forget just how many nowadays. Lisa co-wrote this with him. Lisa is his wife. She's the one that's beating him up and stuff on the pictures. And Lisa actually was in a book that I'll talk about in a future episode where we both contributed to a book together. I've met Loren and Lisa, wonderful people, knowledgeable people. And if you are interested in women's self-defense, or you know somebody that needs to learn that or wants to learn more about it, great resource. Let's look at some of the things they talk about in here. There's a foreword by Gavin DeBecker, who wrote Gift of Fear, which is also a great book that we'll be talking about on this show one of these days. But they talk about the threat, talk about de-escalation, always the first move, escape, de-escalate, don't go physical if you don't have to. They have basic techniques that you need to know when you want to know more. They go into that. They talk about weapons, different scenarios a woman might find herself in where she needs to do things, getting strong, how to practice these techniques and things that they're teaching. Then they get into talking about the brain, the mind. Remember, mindset's so important. Assessing a threat, mental imagery on live people. Then they go into a chapter on dealing with fear, another important concept. If you don't think you're going to feel fear in a situation like that, you're wrong. Everybody feels fear, and we have to deal with it so we can get on to what we're doing to keep ourselves safe and survive. So they have good information here on that. And then there's a chapter on reality-based training, and then some different resources and stuff. So there's a lot of text and information, but there's also a lot of photos, illustrating the things they're teaching. And what you need to do is, when you have a book like this, you read it through, get a basic understanding, then you get your training partner and you get out there and you actually practice the stuff that they're teaching. And that's why they have the chapters on how to practice, right? It does you a little bit of good of just reading it, especially the mental stuff, but the physical stuff, you want to get out and practice. So very good resource for women's self-defense. And I'll tell you guys, you'll learn a thing or two in here too. I know that I did. So there's stuff in here that's not just for women. It can apply to whoever, but the focus was aimed more at women's self-defense. So good book to add to your self-defense library. Good book if you have young daughters or nieces, you want them to get up some basics of self-defense and they don't have a class or something to go to, this book can be a starting point. You can actually train with them and help your younger people learn some stuff too. Robert Redfeather says good morning, and I appreciate you showing up, Robert. Thank you, and good morning to you. So the second book that we're going to talk about today, Rainfall. Rainfall is Barry Eisler's first novel. If you're not familiar with Barry, he's written 10 or dozen or more. I forget just how many. I mean, I look back here what year this book came out. It makes me feel old because this came out in 2002. And this was Barry's first book. Now, if you go on Amazon, you can find this now republished under A Clean Kill in Tokyo. When Barry switched over to Thomas and Mercer and Amazon imprint, they republished a lot of his earlier books that he did with the New York Publishing House. This was with Putnam, he was originally with. And they changed the titles. Now, they didn't do that to fool you and try to make you buy more books. It says on there very clearly, previously published as Rainfall. So if you've read Rainfall, it's the same book. If you haven't read Rainfall, you want to check out Barry's books, go to Amazon and you can get A Clean Kill in Tokyo. Same book. And that's the first book about John Rain, the assassin that Barry writes about. And, I read this before I was friends with Barry and enjoyed it. I became friends with Barry and I've enjoyed all of his books. And I would say that if we weren't friends. He writes a good action thriller with comedy in there. It's just fun. One of the characters, Barry and I talked about some before he wrote about that character, shows up like in the third book, Dox, the sniper. And that's my favorite character. But they're just fun, good, action-filled books. And he then wrote another series, and then he blended the series, and the characters are in the same universe. And they're just a lot of fun. If you have not read them, go ahead and go back to Rainfall. Start at the beginning, and you will enjoy all of Barry's books through. I know that I have. So that's the novel that I wanted to talk about this week. And the last book I wanted to talk about was the first book of Don Aslett's that I have read. And Don is one of my favorite authors. He's so prolific. I've had a chance to meet him a couple times down in Idaho. So most of my books by him are signed, just like this book by Barry is signed, because I had Barry sign all of his or most of his that I've had to when we get together. But it's a time management book. And it's just, Don just says things straightforward, very practical. He's such a practical-minded person, and he just makes sense. And there's a page in this book, if I can find it here, that was one of my favorite, lessons for time management. Yeah, right there. There's a great time management lesson. Be early. So important. But this was a great book, and it has been reprinted too. They put a second edition out called Done. A number of Don's books are sort of this format, this size, the illustrator in this size. The books were republished by a new publisher, and they put them in this size book and changed the covers and some of the format. I actually like the older ones better, and I have them both just to see what, some of the little bit of differences, but I like this format better. And when I talked to Don one time, he enjoyed these formats a little bit better too. But information, if you get done, still fantastic information on time management, getting more done, being more productive. Because I'll tell you, Don Aslett is one productive, prolific person. The stuff that he's accomplished in the books that he wrote. And so those are the 5 books, if you look at the different editions, that I wanted to talk about this morning. All really good books that I've enjoyed. Fight Back, good book for self-defense. You can learn from it, whether you're a man or a woman. Rainfall, if you're not familiar with Barry Eisler, this is the place to start. The first of the books that he wrote with the character John Rain. And if you're interested in doing things a little bit better, being a little more efficient, getting more done, having a 48-hour day, Don Aslett has some good resources right here. He also has a lot of books about cleaning. He has some books about writing. His autobiography I really enjoyed. So I'll be talking about more Don Aslett in different weeks as well. But this morning I wanted to talk about these two because this was the very first of his books that I had ever read. And that's what sort of hooked me on checking out more of what he wrote and really enjoyed them. So have a 48-hour day or done, both the same book. Don't need to get them both like I did, unless you want to. But get one of them and it'll help you be more productive, get more done. So if you like those books, go get them, read them, enjoy them, learn from them. If those aren't the books that you want to read, that's okay. Hopefully, I've talked about some books, motivated you to go get a book that you will enjoy, the kind of novel that you like the best, the topic that you want to learn about. Just get out and read. Read a paper book, read a Kindle book, listen to an audiobook. Just do so. Enjoy it. Enjoy your life. Be safe. Dixon says, Dandy Dawn. Yep, Don Aslett. Wonderful author. Great guy. Really was great to meet him in person those times I met him as well. Same with Barry. It's always fun getting together with Barry. And Loren and Lisa. Actually, I've met every one of those authors today. I'm friends with all of them. I've met and had dinner and did stuff with all of those guys. Great people, great books. But if they're not your cup of tea, go read something that is. Have a spectacular Saturday. We'll see you tomorrow for a special birthday edition. It's somebody very close to me having a birthday tomorrow.